The planet Zereth was unlike anything humans had ever seen. Its skies glowed with green and violet lights, and massive crystal towers rose from the ground, shimmering in the sunlight. Among the alien races that lived there, the most powerful was the clan of the ruling queen, Mara. She was tall, with silver skin that shone in the light, and eyes that could see the truth in any lie. Her presence commanded respect, and her mind was sharp, always planning for the future of her people. On this day, Zereth was alive with activity. Traders, diplomats, and explorers from various parts of the galaxy had arrived. Among them was a human named Nico. He was calm, dressed in a simple uniform, and carried a small bag with tools and gadgets humans often used for exploration. While humans were not yet considered a strong or important species on Zereth, Nico had something unusual about him, a quiet confidence that drew attention. Nico walked through the crystal streets, observing the strange alien architecture. He noticed how the aliens moved, how they communicated with gestures and lights, and how their machines worked. His mind was always analyzing, always looking for solutions to problems. Today, he was here for a diplomatic event at the palace of Queen Mara. Humans were new visitors, and this was their first formal introduction to the alien leaders. The palace itself was breathtaking. Towering spires of crystal reflected the sun in millions of colors. Floating platforms carried servants and guards who moved without touching the ground. Nico stepped carefully onto one of the platforms, feeling its slight movement beneath his feet. He was polite, watching the aliens and trying to understand their customs. When Nico entered the throne room, he immediately saw Mara. She was seated on a high platform, her silver skin glowing. Her eyes met his, and for a moment, the room seemed to grow quiet. Mara had seen many visitors in her life, but humans were rare, and most of them appeared weak or nervous. Nico, however, did not look afraid. He stood tall, his shoulders straight, and bowed slightly. "Welcome to Zereth," Mara said, her voice calm but firm. It was not harsh, but it carried the weight of command. "Thank you, Your Highness," Nico replied, keeping his voice steady. "I am honored to meet you." Mara studied him carefully. There was something different about this human. His movements were precise, his eyes alert, and his expression calm. Most humans she had encountered seemed small and timid, but Nico had a quiet strength. He did not try to impress anyone with words or gestures. Instead, he observed and listened. "Humans are curious," Mara said. "Many think you are weak. Others think you are clever in small ways. What do you bring to Zereth?" Nico smiled slightly. "I bring knowledge, and I wish to learn from your people as well. Humans and Zerethians may see the world differently, but I believe we can help each other." Mara nodded, intrigued. His words were simple, but they carried meaning. He was not trying to flatter her, and he was not afraid to speak honestly. That honesty was unusual, even rare, among the diplomats of the galaxy. Throughout the event, Nico moved carefully among the other delegates. He listened to their complaints, observed their alliances, and quietly suggested small solutions when problems arose. Mara watched him from her platform, noting how he handled himself. Each time he spoke, he did so with respect, yet his words had weight. By the end of the day, Mara was surprised. Humans, she thought, were simple creatures, but this one was different. He did not rely on strength or intimidation, but on calm thinking and careful observation. His mind was sharp, and his presence carried something she could not yet understand. As Nico prepared to leave, Mara's advisors whispered among themselves. He is strange, one said. But there is power in him, a quiet power we do not understand. Mara remained silent, her eyes following Nico as he walked toward the exit. She did not yet know what role this human would play in her life, but deep down, she felt curiosity and a strange sense of anticipation. Something about him promised change. And for the first time, Mara wondered if a human could be more than she expected. After the grand event at the palace, Nico stayed on Zareth for a special mission. He was assigned to work closely with Queen Mara to address tensions between rival alien clans. These clans often fought over resources and territory, and the conflict threatened the stability of the planet. Mara expected Nico to be helpful, but she was not sure how much influence a human could have. Many humans were inexperienced in alien politics, and she had seen some fail in the past. Yet, she also felt curiosity about this particular human. Something in his calm demeanor suggested he might be different. Their first meeting was in a quiet room of the palace, with large crystal windows overlooking the city. Mara sat on her elevated chair while Nico stood near the center. "Tell me, human," Mara said, "how would you approach these clan conflicts? Most aliens rely on strength or intimidation. Humans usually avoid direct confrontation." Nico nodded and spoke clearly. "I believe understanding each clan's needs is important. We should listen first. Then we can find a solution that benefits both sides. Strength alone does not create lasting peace." Mara raised an eyebrow. Most aliens she knew would see this as a weak approach. Yet, there was logic in his words. She leaned forward, interested. "Humans value negotiation over force?" she asked. "Not always," Nico replied. "But I have learned that teamwork and trust often solve problems faster than fighting. Sometimes small actions can create big results." Mara considered his words. His voice was calm, steady, and confident. She realized that while she had relied on power and authority for years, this human might teach her a different way. Their first field visit to a clan settlement tested Nico's ideas. Mara expected him to hesitate when faced with tense alien leaders, but he did not. He listened carefully to their complaints, asked questions politely, and suggested compromises. The aliens were surprised. They did not expect a human to understand their ways so quickly. Mara watched silently. Each time Nico spoke, he did so with respect and honesty. He did not try to impress anyone, yet his words carried influence. Slowly, the alien leaders began to accept some of his ideas. Tension decreased, and a small agreement was reached. After the meeting, Mara and Nico returned to the palace. Mara was quiet for a moment, reflecting on what had happened. "You handled that well," she said finally. "I did not expect the clans to respond to you." Nico smiled lightly. "I only listened and tried to understand. The rest was their choice." Mara realized that his strength was not obvious like a warrior's. It was subtle, hidden in patience, intelligence, and courage. This human was strong in ways she had not considered. Over the next few days, Mara and Nico spent more time together. They walked through the city, observed the alien culture, and discussed ideas for Zaretha's future. Mara began to enjoy his company. He asked questions she had never considered, noticed small details others ignored, and offered solutions that surprised her. One evening, while looking at the glowing crystals outside her palace window, Mara spoke quietly. "You are unlike any human I have met. You think differently. You do not rely on force. You observe, and that is your strength." Nico looked at her respectfully. "Thank you, Your Highness. I only try to do what is right and fair. Humans and Zarathians may be different, but we can learn from each other. Mara felt a strange warmth in her chest. She did not fully understand it, but she liked having him near. His calm presence made her think clearly and question old assumptions. She began to trust him in ways she rarely trusted anyone. By the end of the week, Mara realized that Nico had become more than a visitor. He had become her ally, someone she could rely on. She was still unsure of his full capabilities, but she felt certain that humans, at least this human, were capable of more than she had ever imagined. And deep inside, Mara felt that their bond could change not only her life but the future of Zareth itself. The peace of Zareth was fragile. A rival alien faction, the Kravan, had been gathering strength at the edge of the planet. They were known for their aggression and clever tactics. Queen Mara knew that sooner or later, they would test her rule. She did not expect the challenge to come so soon. One morning, Mara and Nico received urgent news. The Kravan were moving toward a nearby settlement that Mara had recently helped stabilize. If they attacked, it could spark a larger conflict. Mara gathered her advisors and soldiers, preparing for defense. Nico stood beside her, calm as ever. We should consider both defense and strategy, he said. Rushing to fight may waste resources. We need to understand their patterns first. Most advisors looked skeptical. Aliens were trained to rely on strength and overwhelming force. Nico's calm approach was unusual, but Mara trusted him. She allowed him to help plan. They traveled to the threatened settlement. As they approached, Mara could see the Kravan forces in the distance, rows of heavily armed warriors moving quickly across the land. The human small transport hovered close to the ground, and Nico observed silently, taking notes on their formations. Notice how they move, Nico said softly. They are strong, but predictable. If we create small obstacles and use the terrain, we can slow them down and confuse them. Mara raised an eyebrow. Her advisors were whispering that Nico's plan was too cautious. Yet she saw the logic. The Kravan relied on brute force, and Nico had already identified weaknesses they had ignored. When the first Kravan scouts appeared, Nico guided Mara's forces in a series of subtle traps. He suggested moving debris, controlling high ground, and using diversionary lights to mislead the enemy. The Kravan were momentarily confused, giving Mara's soldiers an advantage. Mara watched in surprise. Nico was not physically leading the battle, but his instructions made a huge difference. The small defensive maneuvers slowed the enemy and prevented panic among Mara's forces. For the first time, she realized that strength was not only measured by power, but by intelligence and timing. Later, Mara and Nico went to check the defensive lines. Mara noticed that Nico moved quickly, adjusting positions, communicating with soldiers, and making decisions without hesitation. His presence inspired confidence. Even the youngest soldiers felt braver with him around. During the night, a larger Kravan force approached. Mara's soldiers were exhausted, but Nico remained calm. He helped reorganize the defenses, suggesting rotations and small strategies that kept the enemy off balance. The Kravan were strong, but they were confused by the clever human tactics. At one point, Mara saw a Kravan soldier trying to break through a barrier. Before she could react, Nico had already redirected nearby soldiers to block the path and cut off their advance. Mara realized he was faster and sharper than she had thought. "You are stronger than I believed," Mara admitted quietly when they met later. "Not just clever, but decisive. Your presence changes the battlefield." Nico smiled lightly. I only try to see the best way to protect people. Strength can be many things, Your Highness. Not only force, but also calm thinking, planning, and courage. Mara nodded, understanding for the first time how different humans could be. They did not always rely on raw power. Instead, they combined thinking, teamwork, and courage in ways that the aliens rarely expected. By the next morning, the caravan retreated. Their scouts had reported confusion and losses, and they were unwilling to fight further without a clear advantage. Mara's forces had successfully defended the settlement, thanks in large part to Nico's planning and calm leadership. Mara looked at him with new respect. She had thought humans were simple and weak, but Nico had proven her wrong. He had a strength she had never seen before, hidden behind quiet words and thoughtful actions. That night, Mara reflected on the battle. She realized that she had not only gained a strong ally but had begun to understand humans in a way that could change her perspective forever. Nico was no ordinary human, and Mara sensed that his true potential was still far greater than what she had witnessed. After the victory against the caravan, Queen Mara returned to her palace with a sense of relief and cautious pride. The humans had proven their cleverness, and Nico had shown a calm strength that surprised even her. Yet, there was still more to consider. The clans of Zareth were fragile in their loyalty, and the alliances she built could fall apart at any moment. One morning, Mara's council convened a special meeting. To strengthen Zareth, we need a symbol of unity, one of her advisors said. The humans have proven their worth. A marriage pact between Queen Mara and the human representative would send a strong message to the clans and to other worlds. Mara's eyes widened. The idea of marriage had been a tool in diplomacy before, but she had not considered this human in such a way. She looked at Nico, who stood quietly in the corner, observing the discussion. Nico, Mara said softly, what do you think of this proposal? Nico bowed slightly, his calm expression unshaken. Your Highness, I respect your customs and your decisions. If this pact can help maintain peace and strengthen bonds, I will agree. My priority is to serve and protect, not personal gain. Mara felt a mix of surprise and admiration. He was willing to accept the responsibilities of this alliance without hesitation, without complaint, and without trying to gain more power. His humility and respect impressed her deeply. The council agreed, and preparations for the marriage began. Aliens from different clans arrived at the palace to witness the event. Nico observed everything carefully, learning the customs, the gestures, and the ceremonial rules. Mara watched him, noticing how he adapted to the new environment without losing his own nature. He was human, yet he fit seamlessly into alien tradition. The wedding day arrived, and the palace was more splendid than ever. Crystals reflected sunlight across the grand hall, casting hundreds of colors on the floor. Mara's advisors whispered that the humans were far simpler than the Zarathians, yet Nico's presence made the entire hall feel steadier. When Mara stepped forward to meet Nico, she noticed small but confident gestures in him. He did not try to impress her with words, but his calm stance, steady eyes, and respectful demeanor carried authority. It was a quiet kind of strength, one that the aliens rarely saw. During the ceremony, the clans observed both human and alien customs blended together. Mara realized that while humans were physically weaker than many Zarathians, they had qualities that were rare and powerful. Courage, quick thinking, and honesty made them different, and Nico embodied all these qualities. After the formal vows were exchanged, Mara and Nico were led through the palace gardens. Mara could feel the respect and admiration growing between them. You are unlike any human I have met, she said quietly. You do not rely on force, but people listen to you. You think clearly, even under pressure. Nico nodded. Thank you, Your Highness. I only try to do what is right. Humans may be different from Zarathians, but we can learn from each other and grow stronger together. Mara smiled faintly. She realized that the marriage was more than a political tool. It was also a chance to learn from him, to see a new kind of strength. His calmness and intelligence complemented her own authority and experience. As the celebration continued, Mara noticed how the clans looked at Nico with curiosity. Many had doubted humans before, but after seeing him act during the Kravan battle, and now seeing him follow the customs with respect, they began to reconsider. Nico's presence was changing perceptions. That night, as Mara watched the stars from her palace window, she thought about the future. She had married a human who was stronger than she had imagined. His strength was not only in mind or body, but in character and courage. Mara felt anticipation and hope. With Nico by her side, she sensed that Zareth could face any challenge ahead. And for the first time, she wondered if humans might be more important to the galaxy than she had ever realized. The peace on Zareth did not last long. Scouts reported that a hostile fleet from the Varlan Empire was moving toward the planet. The Varlans were ruthless and powerful, known across the galaxy for conquering worlds without mercy. Mara gathered her commanders to plan the defense, but she felt a mix of concern and doubt. Nico stood beside her, calm as ever. We need to think carefully, he said. Rushing into battle could cost many lives. We should prepare defenses, gather intelligence, and use strategies they will not expect. The alien commanders murmured among themselves. They were trained for direct confrontation, relying on brute strength and overwhelming firepower. Nico's approach was different. Mara, however, had come to trust him. She nodded and said, "Very well. We will follow your guidance." Nico moved quickly to inspect the planetary defenses. He analyzed the terrain, the positioning of troops, and the capabilities of alien technology. Unlike most aliens, he thought creatively, using small adjustments to create big advantages. Mara watched him as he worked, her respect growing with every decision he made. When the Varlan fleet entered the planet's orbit, Nico was ready. He had coordinated the placement of defensive turrets, organized rapid response squads, and created decoys to confuse the enemy sensors. Mara could see the Varlan ships scanning for weaknesses, but they could not predict the clever traps set by a human mind. As the first Varlan strike force descended, Mara expected chaos. She prepared to lead her soldiers personally, but Nico remained calm. He moved among the troops, giving instructions, adjusting strategies, and keeping everyone focused. He was not only commanding, but inspiring. The soldiers trusted him completely. During the battle, Nico demonstrated more than clever thinking. When a Varlan ship broke through the outer defenses, he personally led a squad to intercept it. Mara watched in astonishment as he navigated the alien weapons, moving with precision and speed. He displayed strength, skill, and courage that few aliens could match. The Varlans were surprised. They had expected humans to be weak and easy to defeat, but Nico's actions changed the battle. His strategy, combined with his ability to fight alongside the soldiers, turned the tide. Mara realized that this human had hidden capabilities far beyond what she had imagined. At one point, Mara found herself in the middle of the fight, facing a group of Varlan warriors. Before she could react, Nico was there, guiding her forces, blocking attacks, and coordinating the defense. His calm presence allowed Mara to focus on leading her soldiers without fear. After hours of intense battle, the Varlans began to retreat. Their fleet had suffered unexpected losses and confusion caused by Nico's tactics. The defenders of Zereth, both alien and human, had held strong. The planet was safe, at least for now. Mara stood beside Nico, catching her breath. "I underestimated you," she admitted. "Your strength is incredible. You are not just clever, you are strong, fast, and fearless. You inspire everyone around you." Nico smiled lightly. "I only try to do my best, Your Highness. Strength is not just in the body. It is in courage, quick thinking, and helping others when they need it most." Mara nodded. She realized that humans, or at least this human, possessed qualities that the aliens rarely saw. His mind, his courage, and his actions together created a kind of power that was unlike any alien strength. That evening, the city celebrated the victory. The clans whispered about Nico, impressed by the human who had led and fought beside the queen. Mara watched him, her admiration and trust deeper than ever. She understood now that she had not married a simple human, but someone who could change the future of Zereth and perhaps the galaxy. As the night sky glowed with Zereth's twin moons, Mara felt hope and anticipation. With Nico by her side, no challenge seemed impossible. His hidden strength had been revealed, and it had astonished not only her but everyone who witnessed it. Peace returned to Zereth for only a short time. Scouts reported that a much larger fleet from the Varlan Empire was approaching the planet. This time, the threat was serious. Mara knew that if Zereth fell, the clans would scatter, and the fragile alliances would collapse. She called a council to prepare for the defense. Nico stood beside her, calm and focused. "We need to act quickly," he said. "The Varlans will expect a repeat of their first attack. We should create new strategies, combining the strengths of Zerethians and humans." The alien commanders were unsure. They had relied on force in past battles. Nico's methods were different. Mara looked at him and nodded. She trusted him completely now. His first victory had proven his intelligence and courage. Nico moved swiftly to plan the defense. He organized the Zerethian forces into smaller, flexible units and taught them to work with human technology. He suggested using the terrain in new ways, creating ambush points, and using illusions to mislead the enemy. The alien commanders watched with disbelief as Nico's ideas began to take shape. When the Varlan fleet entered orbit, Mara felt the tension in the air. Nico coordinated the defense, giving clear instructions to every unit. He moved among the troops, offering advice and encouragement. His calm presence kept everyone focused, even as the first enemy ships fired on the city. The battle began in earnest. Varlan ships attacked from all directions, but Nico's strategy made their movements predictable. He used small squads to flank the enemy while larger units defended key positions. Mara watched in amazement as the human tactics disrupted the Varlans at every turn. During the fighting, Mara faced a dangerous situation. A Varlan strike team had breached the outer defense and moved toward her palace. She prepared to defend it herself, but Nico arrived with a small squad. Using precise movements and quick thinking, he blocked the attackers and forced them back. Mara realized that his strength and courage were equal to any alien warrior. The battle continued for hours. Nico adapted to every new challenge, adjusting strategies and giving orders with calm authority. He was everywhere at once, guiding soldiers, organizing defenses, and using human technology to counter the Varlan weapons. Mara could see the difference he made. The alien forces were stronger because of his leadership, not just their numbers. Finally, the Varlans began to retreat. They were frustrated, unable to understand how a human could command and fight so effectively alongside the aliens. The combined forces of Zereth and humans had turned the battle in their favor. After the fighting ended, Mara stood beside Nico, her expression one of awe. "You have done more than I could have imagined," she said. "Your strategies, your courage, your leadership, everything has saved this planet. You are truly remarkable." Nico bowed slightly. "I only do what I can, Your Highness. The real strength is in working together. Humans and Zerathians can achieve more when we combine our skills." Mara smiled. She realized that Nico was not only a skilled strategist and warrior, but also a symbol of unity. His calm intelligence, courage, and respect had inspired both humans and aliens. The clans began to see humans in a new light, as equals and capable allies. That evening, the city celebrated. Fires lit the sky, and Zerathians and humans cheered together. Mara walked beside Nico through the streets, observing how the people looked at him with admiration. For the first time, she felt that humans had a permanent place on Zereth, not just as visitors, but as partners. Mara looked at Nico and said softly, "You have shown me that strength is more than physical power. It is courage, intelligence, and the will to protect others. You are a true hero, Nico." He nodded respectfully. "Thank you, Your Highness. I only hope to continue serving and learning. Together, we can face any challenge." Under the twin moons of Zereth, Mara realized that their partnership was more than political or military. It was the beginning of a new era. Humans and Zerathians, united by trust and respect, could face the galaxy with confidence. And Nico had proven that even the most unexpected being could change the fate of worlds. After the battle against the Varlan Empire, Zereth was quiet once more. The clans returned to their homes, and the city slowly resumed its daily life. The victory had been complete, but the people knew it was not only the power of weapons that had saved them. It was the courage, intelligence, and unity of their leaders, especially Nico, the human who had proven himself in ways they had never expected. Queen Mara walked through the palace gardens, reflecting on the past weeks. She had seen Nico act in battle, plan strategies, and inspire soldiers. She had watched him understand alien culture while staying true to human values. His strength was not only physical or mental, it was a combination of wisdom, courage, and heart. Nico approached quietly. "Your Highness," he said, "the people are safe. The clans respect the peace, and the Varlans will think twice before returning." Mara looked at him with admiration. "It is more than that, Nico. You have changed how everyone sees humans. They now understand that we are not just observers. Humans are capable, clever, and brave. You have proven it." Nico smiled lightly. "I only did what I could. Strength is not measured by force alone. It is courage, teamwork, and thinking clearly when it matters most." Mara nodded. She remembered the first time she had met him, how calm and confident he had been. At that time, she had not expected that a human could influence the fate of Zereth so greatly. Now, she knew that he was extraordinary. The clans requested a meeting to honor both Mara and Nico. Representatives from each group spoke about how the human leader had helped unify them and defend their planet. Mara listened proudly as Nico stood respectfully, acknowledging their words but humbly giving credit to the Zerathian soldiers. His humility made everyone respect him even more. Later, in a quiet moment, Mara spoke to Nico alone. "I married you thinking it would be a political alliance. I did not realize it would become so much more. You are unlike any human I have ever known. You have strength I could not have imagined, and I am proud to call you my partner." Nico looked at her, eyes calm and sincere. "Your Highness, I am honored to be by your side. Together, humans and Zarathians can achieve more than we ever could alone." Mara felt a sense of hope she had never known. The future of Zarath was no longer uncertain. With humans as allies, guided by courage, intelligence, and heart, the planet could face any challenge that the galaxy might bring. In the weeks that followed, Zarath began a new era. Humans were no longer just visitors, they became part of the society. Their ideas, technology, and unique ways of thinking helped improve life on the planet. The clans, once suspicious of outsiders, now welcomed human innovation and insight. Mara and Nico worked together closely, not just as rulers but as partners. Mara learned from Nico's calm and clever ways, while Nico learned the strength and wisdom of alien traditions. Together, they made decisions that balanced respect, fairness, and courage. Their partnership became a symbol to all, showing that trust and collaboration could overcome fear and misunderstanding. One evening, Mara and Nico stood on the palace balcony, looking at the glowing skies of Zarath. The twin moons reflected off the crystal towers, casting light across the city. Mara felt a deep sense of peace. "You have changed my world," she said softly. "Not just the planet, but my understanding of what strength really means." Nico placed a hand over hers. "And you have shown me that courage and wisdom come in many forms. Together, we can face anything." Mara smiled. She realized that she had married more than a human. She had married a being who embodied hope, courage, and the true power of unity. As the night settled over Zarath, the people celebrated, the clans stood together, and humans began their work among them. A new era had begun, one where strength was measured not only by power but by heart, intelligence, and collaboration. And at the center of it all stood Mara and Nico, partners in leadership and in life, ready to face the galaxy together. The story of the human who revealed his true strength became legend. Mara would never forget the surprise, pride, and respect she felt for the human she married. And Nico would continue to prove that humanity had a place among the stars, strong, clever, and full of heart.